Hey everybody, welcome. Thanks for coming to my webinar for building your PPC and your Google Ads. Something that a lot of generator dealers have been struggling with, or even just hiring one-off agencies or SMMA companies, most social media marketing agencies to handle. And it's just very confusing, and because it works, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. It starts, it stops, and there's a whole lot of complexities in that. So here I am just trying to pull this together for you and trying to make sense of it so that you can go back and you can kind of get these dialed in so that you have a dial, when storms come around, and you can dial up the ads, or when things get quiet, you could dial up Facebook ads and kind of switch back and forth. But really what we want to do is just kind of help carve this out for you and show you the details, and try to get you to be able to execute these on your own. Um, so I'm just going to jump in here and just go through a little bit. Okay, I just want to say, and also this is just not the whole strategy. Sometimes these other agencies come in and say, "Oh, you just need Facebook leads. Let's just get you some leads. Let's get you some business, and move on." But the real thing is that you have to have your entire digital strategy dialed in, for just for your Facebook and ads and your Google ads to have the best bang for your buck. I mean, you're putting money into it. You want to make sure that you're optimizing that and getting the most out of your spend. So there's more to it, when it comes to optimizing your ads and getting the most out of it. So just part of this entire strategy, we go through. I'm not going to go through every single one, but driving leads with paid search, with organic SEO, with email marketing, that kind of thing, and then maximizing your conversion either with your website, making sure your website is dialed in, has all those high converting points. Making sure you got a good reputation. Everybody's got a pretty good handle on that. And even working in automation, we've seen an uptick in conversions and estimate conversions when you have automated messaging going out, and you're not just kind of relying on either your sales team to follow up, or if it's just you and you're out there working and you're also following up on estimates. There's a lot going on there that makes things really difficult, right? So you want to have automation dialed into, and then optimizing your results. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of generator dealers will put money out there, $10,000, $15,000 for the month. Okay, it works. Some of it works, some of it doesn't work. I don't know what does and what doesn't. So making sure that you're looking at how much money you're spending and you're seeing how much is coming back. Super important. But today we're going to actually focus on um, the paid aspect, which is the paid search. So I try to break these all down on a monthly basis in our webinars, so that we can just kind of drill into a particular strategy. So the strategy we're going to cover today is paid. So we're going to talk about why paid marketing is the key to unlimited scalability. Like I said, having that dial, you can go up and down in order to help grow your business and help add lead flow where you might not have it. The paid marketing strategies that are working the best for generator dealers across the US right now is Google Ads and Facebook ads. So those are the two we're going to talk about. Oh, and remarketing too. So we want to make sure that you have a good understanding of remarketing. Super important. And I'm going to have some live examples to show you of some paid marketing companies generating 20 to 40 times ROI, and how to set up your structure, for your pay per click marketing campaign for minimum cost per lead and maximum ROI. So, and there's a lot to it on an ongoing basis. We want to kind of look at this constantly, and updating your campaigns as you go. I'm assuming everybody can kind of read this. Just shoot me a text in here if you're having trouble hearing me, or if you're having trouble reading any of this. That would be great. And let's get moving. Okay, so who am I? Why you should listen to me? So this is just a quick 2 minute, just to kind of so you know who I am. I'm not an electrician. I'm a marketer by trade. So I've been doing marketing and graphic design, website development, digital marketing for about 20 years now. I've worked directly with more than 50 generator dealers across the country since 2014. I've spoken at mass market cohort events like NEGDA, the National Emergency Generator Dealer Association. Um, I've also spoken at other events, and I've also written my book. I've written a book, Generator Marketing for Generator Dealers. You can get that for free too from my website. Um, and I've also have now we're a specialized agency for generator dealers, which is Power Source. We've had this we've been doing this now for about 5 years. working with over 20 dealers across the country. Um, we build websites and we're across the US, so we're from east to west. Now we're working on bringing in some new clients from Indiana and Iowa and Tennessee and Oklahoma, things like that, that helps us round out as an agency in your space. We have 7 people now on staff. These are my executive team. So we have content creator, web design developer, ad manager, web developer, and programmer, and analysts and strategists on staff here in the United States. We don't offshore any of that kind of work. And we have a unique understanding of the co-op funds that are available for Generac, the Generac's Power Play, Kohler generators. We know about this 10-year warranty that's coming in for October 13th for Generac, and Kohler right behind it with their 10-year warranty. So we're excited to get those ads out there and press that in the general public. And we're going to at least start now to help get these estimates in, so you can get people to kind of get on the warranty train and get their estimates in, get them ready, and then when it comes mid-October, you can start installing generators and they can take advantage of that 10-year offer. So that's it. Moving on. What we want to talk about here, and just so you know too, that this is just a part of it. You must, in order to really get the most out of your money for your organic, so you can't have a web an ad agency come in and say, "Oh, we'll run Facebook ads for you. Don't worry about your website. Don't worry about your content. None of that." It's just false. Unless you want to throw some of that money away, which you absolutely would be, you have to have an organic foundation built in. You have to have a great website. It's got to be ready to convert, and you have to have great landing pages. And I'm going to show you a little bit about that. And only after you have that foundation built in, then you can layer on the paid search, the Facebook ads, even YouTube ads, and stop there. So you don't want to even spread yourself too thin and start doing TikTok ads or even Angie's, and having to do this whole pay per lead and run ads at the same time. You want to make sure you're layering this in based on success. Okay, so after you have the Google search, the Facebook ads, and maybe YouTube ads running, that's when you kind of want to build your retargeting and your automation and focus on that, because retargeting is going to kind of hit the people that are not interested, but they've seen you, and you want them to continuously see you, and you want to remind them constantly that you're there, they saw you, and and they're interested in the generator or service or whatever it is. And if you're consistently showing them your content, they'll eventually click and call. Only after that, then you can get into some paid directories, Angie's or Home Advisor, things like that. Those are much more expensive. So you want to make sure that you're really dialed in on your other ads first, because these get very, very expensive. And then you get tire kickers, and you're paying for leads that may or may not even be good to go. So want to make sure that you're doing this in this proper order. And then only after that, the very last, if you got extra money, or if business is starting to boom and you're kind of growing and you're scaling, then you want to work on some offline marketing, doing some sponsorships and promotions, your direct mail, your radio, things like that. This is all kind of brand marketing. So this is just going to remind people who you are, that you're out there, you're part of the location in that neighborhood, in that market, and that's kind of what you layer on at the very top. So organic foundation, and then your ads, and then you can work on your branding beyond that. So why paid search should be part of your internet marketing strategy. So like I said, you'll start showing up quickly for one, the organic foundation and building the SEO on the website and adding content and getting yourself found for Google Organic, where you're not paying virtually anything for those leads, takes a while. It takes time. And we know that this is the top priority. 70 to 80% of installs and service contracts are coming in through Google search. People are finding you on the Google Maps and in regular Google search. But in order to get in that Google Map search, you have to be in the top 3 in those areas, not just where your office is and all the other areas. It takes time. And it takes time with an ongoing uh, strategy to build that content into the website and start getting showed up. So working on your ads, get you showing up quickly, and it gets some quick leads coming right in. Show up as often as possible where your customers are looking. So with Google search, having your ads dialed in Google search will pretty much guarantee your placement at the very top of the Google search when people are looking. So if they're searching for generator dealers or searching for generator installation or service or repair or anything like that, they're going to see your ad first before they see any organic results in searches. It creates an urgency and reminds people in your area of the need for a generator. This is kind of where Facebook comes in. You're interrupting, right? You're interrupting their scroll with one of your ads, but it's a right place, right time situation. Your ad pops up. It's something that is like a pain point for them, or they recently just had an outage and they see that generator and they're like, yeah, that's it. Let's go. Let's move on that. Click on it, get some more information, get an estimate, hopefully close the deal. So important to create that kind of urgency. You can also show up for non-geomodified terms. So electrician, generator, home standby power, backup power. So you can kind of set those keywords for your ads to make sure that you're showing up for all of those different searches. So if you do some additional electrical service projects or panel upgrades, recessed lighting, things like that, you could also add that into your ad strategy so that your ads are appearing for those kind of searches. Unlimited scalability, right? More money you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. I'm going to go over cost per leads. I'm going to go over a little bit about what we know in terms of how much it costs to actually bring in these installs based on a solid campaign development. The first thing I'm going to talk about is Google local service ads. So I know you might have heard a lot about this, or you've seen it, or maybe you're even doing it. Local service ads are basically this result. It has that little green checkbox for Google guaranteed. Basically, that means that Google is going to guarantee the project. If anything goes sideways, Google might actually insure it. These There are pros and cons for local service ads. Okay, one of the pros is that it's great for electricians plus dealers because there's a very big electrical category, and there's one category for restore power that may help you get some generators. Generator installs or service contracts, but for the most part, will help you and will guarantee you electrical jobs, whether they're panel upgrades, recessed lighting, or rewiring, things like that, that are very high on the return. Not great for a dealer only. So the thing about it is that there is a category, electrician, restore power, that may bring you up for a generator search, but far and few between. And if you're getting leads for far and few between, Google is not going to, you're not going to have a very good placement for your local service ad. So I would kind of push this aside for generator dealers only if you're not getting into electricians or anything like that. Top of the search results over all else for electricians. We have not seen this actually work for generator dealers who don't have any other services. It's got an AI automated lead verification, so their AI is actually pretty good to verify your leads, provided that you actually have to work and manage the leads that come in to help train the algorithm. So, you see these leads come in and you can see that Google has charge, and then you have to rate the leads based on its performance with you. You can listen to the message and then you say, oh, well, very satisfied versus very dissatisfied. And then you basically just pick one and hope that Google will see that and make an adjustment to the algorithm, and hopefully you won't get charged for some leads that aren't great. Um, just a brief dashboard on one of our electrician clients. A lot of leads, a lot of charged leads for $1,100 spend. He's getting these leads at $31 cost per lead, and I think a lot of these have actually converted to business. So he's did pretty well with this. But that's all I'm going to say about local service ads because really we want to have a dial that we could dial up and down. You can't really do that with local service ads. So moving on to Google Ads. Um, just a few like little examples. We have Suffolk Electric here, residential backup generators showing up on the Google search, showing up inside the local pack search results, showing up with a photograph, showing up with a few photographs. So there's multiple ways to do it with Google Ads. Thankfully, Google Ads will actually do this all for you. We're going to get all into that. Here is why most campaigns might actually fail. So if you don't understand the ads auction process and how much things cost inside the generator industry, that's certainly going to be, one check on that why they fail list. If you only set up one ad group for all your services, electrical generators, emergency services, and link it all to your homepage, that's not the best way to do it. And using specific text ads and landing pages for groups of keywords, if you're not doing that, and you're just doing the one landing page, you're running one ad campaign, and you're kind of throwing everything at it, it's not going to have the best result. And if you don't have a great strong call to action on that landing page that they go to, not just your homepage, but the landing page, then you have a very good chance at losing that lead, losing the interest of that lead. You have to remember that when they're clicking your ad, there's a very high intent. They see, wow, that's something that I've just searched for. I'm looking for generator installation. I see an ad. Best generator installer in Milwaukee, right? And free and 100% financing. Great. Boom. Click. What do they see on that landing page? 100% financing. Click here to apply, or book your free estimate. All right there on the top. So understand that there's intent there when they click on those ads. They need to see what they're looking for, and they need to be able to convert very, very quickly. This is just one of those examples, all a list of all those keywords and just going right to your homepage. Just as an example, I can show you that from one of our clients back in January, we have a total of 23, go back, 23 Google ads from, a blended spend of like $6,600 for, our cost in Facebook and Google or whatever. And we see 23 leads coming from Google ads. And then having the Google ads show us exactly what it's doing, we're actually going to break that out. So this is blended, $88 cost per lead blended for all of your spend. Let's see. Our cost per conversion on the Google Ads campaign directly from those 23 is $110. This is actually for installations anyway. That is actually a pretty good number when it comes to actually converting. Okay. And if you're converting 90% of the calls that are coming in, that's a really good number. If we just do some quick math, 23 actual leads, and if you convert, let's say 30%, not even 90%, 30% of those 23s, maybe seven sold installs, your average price is 17,500, maybe 14,000. So, right, seven installs at that range, we're looking at $122,000 in revenue from a $2,500 spend. $2,530 spend, it's 48 times your spend on that revenue return. So, and then, just to go back real quick too, just so you can see that 34 and 18, these are Google Business Profile leads, and 18 SEO organic leads, not included from your Google Ads. So you can see that we're getting a good amount of leads from Google Ads, which is great. There should be another box here for Facebook ads, maybe another box for postcards or referrals, things like that. But looking at Google Business Profile and your SEO organic, killing it. Okay, so those leads didn't cost $2,500. Those leads are just kind of blended over time of the effort that you're putting into your website. How to set up and structure your Google pay-per-click marketing campaign for a minimum cost per lead and hopefully a maximum cost return on investment. So your conversion tracking is a must. Your campaign must be broken down to smaller ad groups. I'm going to go through this too. Have a strong understanding of your keyword match types. I'm going to go through that. And you need to write compelling text ads that resonate with the customer, as I mentioned, and leverage ad extensions to make sure your ad stands out on the page. Google Ads has all of that built in when you're structuring the ad campaign. And then you have to land the visitors on a well thought out pages and do some ongoing split testing. So, like I said, once you have this dialed in, it's not going to just work. You have to very consistently on a weekly basis, every other week basis, look at the ads, look at the results, eat your own dog food, right? Click on the ad, go to the landing page, check things out, fill out the form, make sure everything is firing and working. I can't tell you how many times where we go maybe 2 days and a form might have been broken. We don't wait that long for some issues to go on, but when you take care of your own campaigns and you don't have people looking at this stuff on a regular basis, things like that can break apart and you end up wasting money. So the first thing, don't even spend another penny on ads until you have tracking in place. There are ways to track what your Google ads are doing. I'm going to explain to you how you could do that. Some essentials, dynamic number swapping. Okay, so we use CallRail to swap the phone numbers. CallRail's a great software where you could just buy one pool of numbers, which gives you four different phone numbers. Okay, and so yeah, keyword pool with dynamic number swapping. So when somebody clicks on an ad, they're brought to your website, and that phone number swap, if you have the right code in there, the phone number will switch to one of the phone numbers that you set up in CallRail. And then you can go back and see all the calls that came in from your Google Ads. You can listen to the call and you can verify the customer's name, their phone number, or whatever. Go back to your system and you can turn around and say, hey, that converted into an install. It was a $14,000 install that came directly from that Google ad, and you've completely closed the loop on that one lead. Very, very important. Same thing with web form tracking. Make sure that your forms actually deliver the information to you on where they came from. This is a source or referral that's coming that the form system is using so that you can identify where that submission come from. You don't have to build a whole new form. You don't gotta have get all new numbers. Even the dynamic phone swapping will capture the referral. So even if somebody finds you on Google Maps, or they look in Google search, or they go to your website directly, CallRail is going to tell you where those calls came from. And conversion tracking built into your Google ad campaign so that your ads will also have a phone number on there that works directly with CallRail. So CallRail is going to say, here's a Google ad number for you. You just got to put it into the account when you create those campaigns. So here's how you structure your Google ad campaign after you've got tracking in place. You want to set up a Google search campaign, you want to set up a Performance Max campaign, and a remarketing campaign. Performance Max a little bit less. Let me just explain the difference real quick. Google search campaign is specifically pulling out keywords, making sure that your ads are appearing when somebody's searching for those particular keywords in that particular area too. So you're going to have the ability to target your local area. I would pick your office and 40 miles or however far you're going to go in your service area and shoot for 500,000 in population, um, for both Google and Facebook too. Google Performance Max is basically Google throwing your ad and your information out there across the web. So it's gonna put your ad on local on the local search. It's gonna put your ad into websites. It's gonna put your ad onto YouTube. It's gonna put your ad into MSN.com, things like that, news media, things like that, with a much lower cost per lead, but the leads won't be great. So it's kind of like power play leads. You'll get a dozen and actually talk to two of them. And then remarketing. So you want to have remarketing in place. These are the ads that will chase people around. It's kind of like Performance Max, but only after somebody has visited your website. Super important to have that dialed up. So a cost per lead idea for a Google search campaign for a generator install, you're going to pay around $150 for a particular lead. So important to be patient with it and work on those ads, work on the ad copy, work on your landing page to try to get that number down as low as possible. We've seen Google ads for generator installs come in for under $100, which is a really great cost per lead, considering that the quality of lead is so high. So not with Facebook. Facebook leads should be much less, because the quality of lead isn't that great. There's definitely a direct correlation between the quality of a lead and the amount that you have to pay for an actual lead. Performance Max will cost you about $15 a lead. Like I said, like Power Play, you'll get 2 out of 12 maybe that you'll talk to. And then remarketing is cheap. You will continue to run, and maybe you'll see one every other month, but having it out there and having your stuff just kind of on repeat is super important, especially when people are kind of already interested. And you've seen this stuff before. So structuring your Google ad campaign. Google search campaigns to be broken into smaller ad groups. Now we're gonna get into a little bit of the nitty gritty. I won't bore you too much, but because it's somewhat self-explanatory. But making sure that you have the smaller groups targeting various services that you provide separated. So generator installs, Generac or Kohler installs, generator service and repair, generator maintenance, would be separated. Okay, so you want to make sure you have a strong understanding of the keyword match types, and don't forget about the negative keywords. So match types, hopefully you can read that. But I'll tell you. So exact match, okay? And this is just terminology. This is not exactly how you're going to set it up. But when you see the request for exact match, you're making sure that your ads are coming up when somebody is physically actually typing generator maintenance, generator installation, generator repair. A phrase match, Google will actually ask you what's a good phrase to match to Generac service technician. So if somebody's looking for Generac service repair, Generac service, service for Generac generator, service for Generac, that's a phrase match. And then Google's going to match it up whole house standby generator, Generac generator installer. And then a broad match is much more broad, where Google will actually use AI to understand what the searcher is looking for. Kohler generators, Generac generators, or home standby power. Google kind of understands all of that and will hopefully make your ads appear as they come in. But it's important to watch how they come in too. So you can specifically tell Google, hey, I don't want you ever include this keyword ever again. So somebody searches Sportsman 3500 watt generator. We don't want to show our ads for that. So it's important to check it off and make sure it's excluded. And Google's actually going to do a pretty good job at excluding Sportsman 3500 watt, um, things like that, based on search. So it's important to watch the search terms on the ads after they're performing so that you can specify what you don't want to show up for. So you need to write compelling text ads. So I mean, I'm sure you're going to be able to figure that out. And use those trigger words: backup generator, house generator, hookup. Some basically simple things. Even generator tune-up. People are not searching maintenance or maintenance plans or programs. They might actually say tune-up. So free estimate right away will come to you. Things like that. Free finance, 100% financing, things like that. And then remarketing, like I said, remarketing comes out, visitor, here's the visitor. They go to your website, they leave your website, then they see your ad on another website, then they come back and go to your website, and they leave and they see your ad and they come back. So this is basically just our iteration of how remarketing works. Most important KPIs. Okay, so the things that you have to make sure that you are tracking, you're looking at how much you're spending. Make sure that you know exactly how much is coming out of your pocket, and then look at your average cost per click. This helps you get a better read on how the ads are performing. Your average cost per lead is basically just how many leads you're getting divided by the number of, or the amount of money that you're spending divided by the number of leads that you're getting. Like I said, generator installs, we're seeing between $100 and $250 per lead. That's on the very high end. Repairs, maintenance, service, we should be somewhere in the lower 85 range. Installs, replacements, things like that, again, between the 100, 200 range. And then like electrical. So we're not running too many electrical, but it seems to be steady in that 30, 35, $75 a lead um, range. And then make sure you're looking at your total return on investment, which means how many leads came in at what the cost per lead, and then how many of those leads have actually converted into revenue and what was the revenue. Having that number on a monthly basis and watching that number on a monthly basis. So the psychology of it is what you measure will improve, and what you monitor will improve. So it's always important to look at these numbers on a monthly basis and make sure that you're making some changes and you're making good steps forward in the right direction to make these proper changes. And it's best to have a dashboard. You have a dashboard. A lot of different companies offer dashboards that track all of this, but having a dashboard that shows you your different campaigns, how much the cost, how many clicks you're getting, what the cost per click is, what your conversion rate is, what your total conversion rate is for leads, and looking at this on a monthly basis, super important. Here, looking at $110 for that cost per lead, cost per conversion. You can even hook this up with Service Titan. Service Titan has all those options. You can connect that. You can see how many actual leads, booked sales, revenue for returning customers, insurance, SEO, referral, ads, things like that, and then have a dashboard for that. And you really got it dialed in, and then you know how to make these changes up and down for the better. Google Ads. If you have any questions on Google Ads, just throw it right in the chat, and otherwise we move right on to Facebook. I take it everybody can see my screen okay. Okay, Facebook ads. Facebook ads are, like I said, that's the interruption. That's where you're actually going to put these ads in front of people while they're scrolling on Facebook. They're not actively looking for generators, installs, or anything like that, but you're showing it to them anyway. Maybe they just had an outage. Maybe there was a storm or there is a storm coming. Our Myrtle Beach client, we're ramping them up. We've got two hurricanes on their way up. So we want people to see these on Facebook even though they might not be searching for it because it might be top of mind, or we might be reminding them, oh, that's right, there is a storm coming. I hate these outages. I can't stand it. Maybe it's time for a new generator. So this is when we want to ramp up the Facebook ads. And why they fail, why Facebook ads fail, it's all the same. It's the same story. There's no tracking. There's poor budgeting. You have a bad landing page. You're not knowing where they're coming from. And maybe most of all, for specifically for Facebook, is that you're not communicating with the person coming with that lead fast enough. So that's one of the biggest things to watch out for. Structuring this, again, conversion tracking is a must. Set up your account with the Facebook portfolio. I'm going to show you how that looks if you haven't seen that already. So from your personal Facebook, you set up a new company. You should have a company Facebook page and then go to Facebook Business Suite or Meta Business Suite, actually. It's business.facebook.com and set up your account. And from that one portfolio, you've got a Facebook page, and you've got an ad account where then you can create ads within the Meta Business Suite. Create a campaign for leads. I'm going to get into all those details too. And you need to write compelling ad copy. All of that is all a little bit of the same. And then simple targeting, 40-mile radius, or by counties. Actually, my ad manager told me this morning that he's now using counties to target because they give you more in the population rather than actual towns. And landing visitors on a solid, well thought out landing page, super important, and do some ongoing split testing, fine tuning, tweaking on a weekly basis. Facebook will change how their algorithms work within your ad campaigns on a regular basis too. So you can't set it and forget it. You have to make sure that you're monitoring how your Facebook leads are doing. If you don't get a lead in a certain amount of time, you might want to check the system again, test the ad, test the form, test the page, look at it on mobile. Okay, this is super important. Make sure that your page is good for mobile. So setting up your Facebook ad campaigns just so you can understand how the Facebook campaign structure is very simple. You have a main campaign where you actually set your objective, where you want to get leads, or you want to get followers or likes or whatever, and then you set up an ad set within each one. So if you've got an ad set specifically for generator installs or an ad set specifically for generator maintenance, and then create your ads for each one. Keep it all separate. And the more separation you do, the more you can track the performance of these ads, and you'll know which one's performing better than others. So campaign, generator installs, and then an ad set for remarketing. Need to have the remarketing also for Facebook. And then the actual ads, you do a picture of your team, do some social proof, your 500 plus Google reviews, things like that. Do a picture of some of your installations, and then another ad set for prospecting. So you do remarketing and then prospecting. So when you're prospecting, you're showing off your installations in like a photo reel, so you can see multiple photos performing on their own with the same ad copy. That's the simplest end of it. So, and it doesn't get too much more complicated than that. I hope that's clear, because it's easy to set up the campaigns, it's easy to track them, and it's easy to, make updates and changes. Set up another campaign for generator service where your ad set might be remarketing again, and then you're going to do a picture of, a generator wide open with your tech in front of it, and then do a separate ad set for prospecting. Oh, because this is remarketing, make sure some of the ad copy is more like, does your generator need service? We're here to help you 24/7, whatever it is. Make sure that some of your ad copy has some of that content. And then another ad set for prospecting, where you can also, another one for generator service, your generator wide open, or your guys working with a customer, and then a service listing, um, a listing of the services that you offer within your maintenance, whether you're doing a battery check or you're doing some oil changes or just a visual inspection, things like that on the generator that you can actually show in a list what it's all included. And if you're confident in your price and you have a good price for maybe a first time, like $195 or whatever for a first time maintenance on your generator, put that on there too. And just to go back to this too, because this is where some people get confused, but you have your business manager account within Facebook, and then you've got users. So that's where you create your admins and your employees. And then you can actually, within the users, you could also add a partner. So if you had an agency, you'd give a partner access. This way, you're not giving out your personal Facebook account, username, password, things like that. It's all done through the business manager. And this is where, I mean, we've had onboarding calls with clients that just don't know what this is, and they've got multiple people with their access to their Facebook pages, and this is just super important to have in place. But once you've got your users and your partners handling it, then you personally can set up your pages, your ad accounts, your pixels, your finances, your billing method, and all that other stuff that kind of is tied in, so that the partners and the users and your employees don't have to see your credit card information. They can't manage your budget, things like that. You can set those kind of parameters. And then with Facebook, again, important to have your KPIs in place, your total spend, your average cost per click, your average cost per lead. Make sure that you've got a dashboard aside for that. You can see that this is your campaign. This is how many clicks, 2215 impressions, 76,000 impressions. Your average cost per click is 70 cents. Your click-through rate is 2.92%. Click-through rate, you want to maybe a 5% click-through rate. So that might mean that maybe the ad isn't doing so well, or maybe the ad has gotten tired. There's something called ad fatigue out there that if you're running the same ad for a certain amount of time, people will just see it and they would just keep going. And now they're not clicking anymore. Um, Maybe the image is not compelling enough. Maybe it's not interesting enough, things like that. So you could do things like that to up your click-through rate. Um, but also remember this number of clicks, 2,215 clicks and 54 conversions. The difference between the two will continue to get your remarketing ads from Facebook and Google. So make sure that you've got those dialed in, because that is a lot of clicks and a lot of interested people with some intent, at least, that you might get them to click again later on. Okay, before I go forward, any other questions? Just put it in the chat. I've covered Google ads, I've covered Facebook ads, local service ads, and the question is, are you clear on how to set up your ads? Are you clear on when to set up your ads? So the next thing I want to talk about is these landing pages and how your website should be structured and how they should look when people finally do click on your ads. I like it. This is good. It's a good webinar. Nobody has any questions. It's great. You guys are just gonna just go right to it. Sandy says, I have to thank you for everything. Teachers, thanks, Sandy. I appreciate it. Appreciate you. Appreciate it. You're always there on my webinars, just working along. I get it. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. So that landing page, well thought out landing page on your site, built to convert. Remember, there's intent there when they finally click your ad. So you want to make sure that they are getting everything they're looking for. They don't need to know about you. They don't need to know about why a generator. They don't need to know about the benefits. They kind of already get that. They're not clicking your link saying, what is this? They're clicking your link saying, this looks like somebody I want to go with for a generator install or service. So have it all on there, right above the fold. As soon as you go there, you can't even click around to the other pages of the website because there's no navigation, right? We just want to get them to call or fill out that form right there on the top and call. And if they're still not sure, we hit them with that $500 offer, $500 off on the install, plus 10% on your first year of platinum service or whatever. Let's make sure that they know. Oh, a free estimate. Let's make sure that they know you have over 75-star reviews. This client has more than 300 now. Let's make sure that they know you offer 100% financing. So having all that above the fold, and then a beautiful mobile site that gives them those reasons to click, to call, to fill out the form right on that mobile device, and then you don't have to worry about, well, is it converting enough? So that's primarily what you want to have. So this whole other client, specify the brand. Let's remind them why they're here. A Generac. Yes, Generac. That's the one I'm looking for. So people think that Generac is a generator. There is no difference. It's like a Kleenex or a Band-Aid. Those are brand names. That's what they think when they see Generac. It's like the only option. So if you do primarily Kohler, but also Generac, let's make sure that the Generac is still on your landing page too. And again, let's get their lead right away. Here's just another example of some additional content. Power Pro Premier dealer, reliable backup, and we've got some more information below, but we've got the form, we got their phone number, and it's right there on top on mobile. So super important to have all of this dialed in. And these are your landing pages that you want to go by, not just the home page. The home page has got more information about your team, about you. You have to remember the intent when somebody is finally clicking on your leads. Now, one of the other important things that you want to focus on is retargeting and some automation. So if your phone is ringing and you can't answer, you want to make sure that they are getting some kind of a response from the company. You just paid money to have them come to your website, whether it be remarketing or Google ad, and they can't get a hold of somebody. You have to have something in place that it says, I'm sorry I missed your call. We have automatic text back for some software. I'm sorry I missed your call. How can we help? This gets them engaged with, a response in text messaging. Here's what happens if you fill out that form, you want a generator, you're interested, and you're starting to shop around, and you fill out the form and you wait a few minutes. Maybe some people are just going to go right to another competitor, fill out the form, another competitor, fill out the form. And now it's the first person to respond to that is going to win that. Same thing with the calling. So if they call and they don't get you, if an automated message hits them back like right away, says, sorry, I missed you, they're going to stop, right? They're not going to go to a competitor because now they're getting a text message directly. Oh, yeah, please, I'm interested in generator installation. This will buy you a little bit of time to get back to them. So if you have this missed call text back kind of thing, it's like customer lead comes in, we send them a text and an email, we wait for a reply. If they reply or they don't reply, we send them other kind of messages to try to keep that automation going. So retargeting automation is a must. Leads that aren't followed up within 15 minutes will go cold. I think you guys already know this. The average customer has to be followed up with 5 to 7 times. This is like power play lead 101. Today's consumer prefers to interact via text message versus phone call or email. So make sure that you're doing all of it. You're able to text message with somebody that wants to text message, somebody that just wants to email, somebody that just wants to talk on the phone, somebody just wants to use a chat. Have every single one of those available. And then having automation in place so that you can even follow up on estimates, follow up on leads that come in. So just want to get into a little bit of the social media management agencies and the costs that they charge or some of the things like that. Because there's a lot of questions about, how much does it cost to run ads? And this is going to vary greatly from agency to agency. So some of them will have a monthly retainer, $1,000 a month to $2,500 a month just to run your ads. This has nothing to do with the amount of money that you're putting into your budgeted ad spend. Some of them will charge you a percentage of your spend. So if you want to run $10,000 a month in ads, they're going to charge you $1,000 a month. Some of them will charge you an hourly rate. This is more the one or two guys, three guys, smaller agencies will charge you an hourly rate just to manage your ads. And a pay per lead plus a setup. So there's these guys out there that are saying you only pay when you get an install. Great. So there's a $2,000 setup fee just to create your ads, just to learn about your industry and figure all that out, get it all working, and then they charge you $200 for an install. So plus on top of that, your budget to actually spend on the ads themselves. I'd stay far away from that one. So a few of the reasons why they have to charge this way, they have to spend time learning about generators. They have to research your market. They got to experiment. They got to learn. They got to do all of that stuff. So if you have a PPC provider right now, I got a list of questions that you can ask them. So how much of my budget will go to Google AdWords spend, Google Ad spend versus management fees? What does it cost to actually manage your ads on a monthly basis? Regardless, if you're putting money into these ads, sometimes they will just charge you just to keep your ads dormant. What type of tracking do they have in place? So Google Ads, call and web form conversion tracking, making sure that that is, oh, well, we don't do that because they link to your homepage. A good ad manager has to take care of that. If you didn't have web and call conversion tracking that pulls into ads, you will be at a major disadvantage versus the competition, especially because you're not looking at the performance and seeing how it's doing and refining as you go. Are they going to delineate PPC calls versus organic calls? Keep everything separate. Make sure you know where your leads are coming from. The different lead channels matter. And tracking your key performance indicators. These are your KPIs. Will you be given a live dashboard? Will you be looking at the click-through rate? Will you be looking at the cost per lead on a monthly basis? That's your key metric, average cost per lead. And will you be setting up specific landing pages for each of those ad campaigns as well? Very specific landing pages. We have a separate one for Facebook ads. We have a separate landing page for generator installs, and we have a separate page for generator service. And if you're driving traffic to landing pages, how are those pages going to be optimized for conversion on a regular basis? Are you going to be leveraging all the ad extensions and all of that stuff? I would hope that they're going to take care of that and leverage all of that. Um, and what are the targets in terms of cost per lead and return on investment? So these are all just questions that you want to ask your provider or somebody that you might be talking to that can run these ads for you. Um, I know quite a few companies out there right now that are running ads like crazy. Generator installs, pay for when you get an install, Facebook leads. It's crazy the amount of stuff that they're going to tell you, and all they're going to do is run ads, and you're not going to put any kind of money or investment into your website or your optimization or your brand, your company name. There is no growth scaling um, opportunities there. So the only way to grow and to scale your business is to make sure that you have a full digital strategy in place. That includes the SEO, that includes the web development and the content creation and your Google business profile, your Facebook page, your Instagram page, running ads for your Facebook and your Google, and having some automation in place, running some postcard campaigns, taking care of all of that. So that is probably the biggest point of this whole thing is just to make sure that you've got this as a dial to dial up and dial down as you need it, as you don't need it. And that's a scoop. If anybody needs help with this, um, if anybody has any questions, I know nobody's got questions because this was perfect. Just let me know. I just want you to know that with our program, the Power Source program, we include the website and design development, the content page creation, the primary focus on SEO and organic leads, your secondary focus on PPC and Google Ads, all in one, plus some automation integration, workflow development, conversion tracking. It just goes on. Uh, we have one program with one price, with one team, with many different markets across the U.S. in the generator space. And we do a free online marketing review. Um, please please scan this and do an acceleration session with us. We will actually do an audit on your company against your competitors, and we will help you with the opportunities. We will show you where the opportunity is. We will tell you these are 10 things that you can do right now to help your business scale and grow. And it's no cost to you. Our only ask on that one is to just listen to our pitch, show you our program, and hopefully, if we're a good fit, we'll work together. Um, Michelle, I would love to plan a session. Yes, please plan a session. Well, it takes about a half an hour. We would love to just look at the website and kind of go through that with you. We're not salesy people, so we're not gonna fire at you and just try to get your business at every turn. We're basically going to show you the value of what we do, show you how we do it, provide you some insight and opportunity, and hopefully it's a good fit for everybody.